The Awekaning of Women, Shri Prabhat, Ranjan, Sarkar. Matriarchy in the Kśatriya Age. 1967. Ever since the Shudras took shelter under the Kshatriyas, the Kshatriya era began in human society. But the Kshatriya era did not come overnight. Multitude of fragmented Shudra societies gradually accepted the authority of the Kshatriyas, resulting in a process of integration under them. In other words, each Kshatriya, under whom a new social system was founded with the union of many Shudra societies, became the symbol of Shudra unity. This acceptance of a Kshatriya as the symbol of Shudra unity came as the result of socio-psychic transmutation and was the first evolution in human history. Different groups came into being in human society, each under a representative Kshatriya. To preserve the purity of blood and the identity of each group, brave and spirited women were recognized as Goshthi Mata, clan mothers, in this primary stage. Every man and woman in a clan used to bear the name of the clan mother as their lineal identity. The value of a separate identity for a father or a mother was not realized in those days, as both the father and the mother belonged to the same clan. After the death of the clan mother, the necessity of determining the identity of a mother arose only when, as per convention, the clan divided into sub-clans at the time of the selection of a new clan mother. In other words, initially Kshatriya society was matriarchal. The clan system of the Kshatriya era was the first stage in the evolution of a social system. The fight for prestige and supremacy raged between different clans during the Kshatriya era, and so in the Kshatriya order, love and affection for the respective clans was more in evidence than it was in the Shudra era. The spiritedness and self-conceit of the Kshatriyas not only inspired the crude materialistic intelligence of the people to unite and form a society, but their sense of prestige and sentiment also greatly helped in consolidating these Kshatriya groups. That is to say, although the struggle for self-existence was the main issue, the fight for prestige was in no way secondary. This sentiment and sense of prestige of the Kshatriya era gave and still gives the human race ample inspiration in its conquest over matter. The Shudras fought solely for self-preservation, whereas the Kshatriyas fought for their survival as well as for the establishment of their supremacy. The aim of the Shudras was to gather food and ensure their own security, whereas the Kshatriyas were in pursuit of conquest and dignity. This sense of prestige in the Kshatriyas developed a subtler intelligence in them, awakened their conscience and stimulated their power of judgment. To slay the disarmed, to slaughter women, children, or old people, to murder those who had surrendered, or to kill those running away for their lives from a fight went against the grain of Kshatriya conscience. In essence, the valor of the Kshatriyas was instrumental in their surpassing the animal stratum as they learned to understand human values. It was this sense of values that raised conjugal and domestic life to a human standard to a great extent. Instead of conjugal relations being limited to the status of enjoyer and the enjoyed, they began to contain a sense of duty. With the establishment of conjugal relationships, a sense of duty awakened in the father towards his children. Consequently, as soon as the responsibilities of mothers lessened to some extent, women became dependent on men for their food and clothes, particularly during the period of pregnancy and during the post-delivery period. As a result, married couples, though belonging to the same group, began to emerge in previously male-centered households. As families were male-centered, male-dominated groups became evident, and clan mothers lost their previous authority. In these Kshatriya societies of ancient times, men and women came to be recognized as husband and wife, although there was no strong binding in their conjugal relations. Society was male-dominated even in the latter half of the Kshatriya era, and men used to have many wives, reminiscent of the Shudra era. The only difference between the polygamous nature of the two eras was that the wives of the Shudra era had no social ties with their husbands, but the husbands and wives of the latter half of the Kshatriya era did have socially recognized marital ties. Although the Kshatriya society of the latter half of the Kshatriya era was better disciplined and better constructed than that of the first half, The stability of conjugal and group relationships depended more on the physical ability and bravery of the group leaders and members than on pure humanism and a sense of discipline. The slogan of this Kśatriya era was, "This world belongs to the valiant." Human beings are emotional beings. Needless to say, in the later half of the Kśatriya era, with the awakening of a sense of responsibility and affection for their children by parents, children too became conscious to some extent of a sense of duty towards their parents. These duty-conscious children were also vigilant and kept up their father's prestige, heroism, and tradition. So the fathers wanted their children to be the heirs and successors of their manliness, heroism, and heritage. Thus, as the relationship between them grew closer and closer, stronger ties and more compactness developed in the society. The preservation of family heroism and tradition necessitated the careful selection of suitable brides and grooms for marriage, and it was because of this that socially recognized matrimony gradually evolved in the Kśatriya era, replacing unrecognized and unauthorized relationships between men and women. Footnotes: Shudra and Kshatriya are social classes, reflecting laborer and warrior mentalities, respectively. Their respective eras refer to the periods in history when those mental types dominated the society.